men. British lost over 1,000 men. So the casualties were lopsided. And it was a very important battle at the very beginning of the American Revolution. June 17, 1775. The bridge to your right is today the widest cable-stayed bridge in the world. It's the Leonard P. Zakup Bunker Hill Memorial Bridge, designed by a Swiss architect named Christian Menn. Notice the support columns, the top shape, looks just like the Bunker Hill Monument. That was a last-minute addition. When he came here and designed this bridge, it did not include the obelisk shape at the top. But after Christian Menn came here and fell in love with all the history we have, he decided to incorporate some of it into the design of his bridge. So he put the beautiful obelisk shape at the top of the support columns. The bridge has 10 lanes of traffic going over it, and it brings you from I-93 right into the I-93 tunnel. And it goes right underneath Boston Interstate 93. This will be stop number 4. If you'd like to step down for North Station, the New England Sports Museum, the TD Garden, stop number 4. And you get a great view of the bridge right here on your right-hand side. Anybody stepping down now at stop 4? Yep, alrighty, take your time, watch your step. Why don't we have signage at the stops? So the city does not allow us to put signage at our stops, so we went around and put orange stripes on all but 2 of the poles at some of our stops. The 2 that don't have them are on private property, but most every stop will have an orange stripe somewhere nearby, okay? Behind the construction on your right is the new sports arena called the TD Garden. It is the new home for the Boston Bruins and Boston Celtics. I say new, that's a relative term. It opened in 1995, but it was much newer than the old Boston Garden that opened in the 1920s. The old Boston Garden would have been right here on your right, where you see this construction site. When they opened the new one in 95, it was 9 inches behind the old one. The 2 buildings stood side by side, just 9 inches separating the 2 buildings. Yep. They tore down the old Boston Garden in 98. Before they tore it down, they had emptied it all out. Get rid of every piece that was in there. Anything that was valuable to the teams, they moved it into the new home. Everything that was left over, they had a huge rummage sale. Yep, big auction. You know, this city is known for being like a little fanatic about the sports teams. You may have noticed that. They put a price tag on it and people bought it. The seats, the scoreboards. You know what one guy bought? The toilet. Yeah. I don't even want to know. It's like TMI, too much information. Don't tell me why you're buying a toilet. I don't want to know. Yeah, right. I don't want to know what sort of memories you have there. So anyways, once the building was empty, they had to tear it down. Now, today's world, you want to bring a building down, usually you just blow it up, right? Implode it, and it comes right down. They couldn't do that because the new building was 9 inches away. So what they did instead, they took it down brick by brick by brick. Yeah. What do you think they did with the bricks?
They sold them.
You betcha, they sold those bricks. $100 a piece. Yeah, I don't know if Larry Bird touched the actual brick, but he certainly played in the building. You can get him to touch your brick and then it'll be even more special, right? We're going to make our way up to stop number 5, and that will be a stop that's very popular. It's on the backside of Quincy Market and Faneuil Hall. It is also the stop for Old State House Museum and the Dreamland Wax Museum. And the reason I'm telling you about it, both of those museums are free with your trolley ticket. No additional charge. You want to visit, just show them your trolley ticket. You get into Dreamland and you get into the Old State House free of charge. Both at stop number 5, okay? Also at stop 5 is Quincy Market and Faneuil Hall, about 150 shops and restaurants over there if you want to go explore. Faneuil Hall itself is an historic town meeting hall. They have an auditorium up on the 2nd floor. Since 1724 the building has been there, and it is now open to the public, where you get the National Park Service giving you free tours up in that auditorium all day long. It's a very old section of the city, and you'll notice that soon, but right now it looks kind of modern because of these buildings. But first thing you're going to see is a memorial to the Holocaust victims. If you look to your left front side, the 6 glass towers, that is the New England Holocaust Memorial. And that remembers the 6 million Jews who lost their lives during that terrible time. Behind it, though, you have the Blackstone block. That is the oldest commercial block in the city. You can see the business there on your left, Bellingham Tavern, 1795. Oldest operating restaurant in the USA. Union Oyster House opened in 1826. It's still in business. It's just behind the Holocaust Memorial. If you're a fan of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, JFK, he used to have lunch almost every day at the Union Oyster House. His favorite booth was upstairs, booth number 18. At the end of the block on your left, that's when you see Quincy Market and Faneuil Hall. You'll see the red brick building through the trees to your left front with the little gold cupola. That is Faneuil Hall. And then behind it is Quincy Market. Now folks, your ticket allows you to go around and around as much as you want. One time around on the trolley takes about an hour and 45 minutes. If you want to really use your time wisely, my suggestion is get on and off the trolley as you go through the stops. Because it's almost 2 hours just one time around. So why use that time sitting when you can spend that time at the Old State House or Greenland or one of the other attractions? You're welcome to do it if you want, but I'm just telling you, I think the best way to use your time, get on and off as you go through. You can see the Old State House to your right front side, red brick building with a balcony overlooking the little plaza. The Boston Massacre happened right in front of this building. If you look to your right front, you see the 3 pots with the pine trees? Right there is where the Boston Massacre happened. And that was March 5th, 1770. It started with a simple argument. British soldier, apprentice to the local wig maker. As they argue, a huge crowd starts to gather around. Somebody in the crowd starts throwing snowballs, a big fight breaks out, people screaming and yelling, turns into a riot. So a passerby sees this riot going on and says, we need to warn everybody in the city. The only way they warn people in those days, they run to the church and they start ringing the church bell. There's the church bell. Church bells had 2 meanings. Time for church, or there's a fire. People in the crowd knew it wasn't time for church, so they started to chant, fire, fire! And that's exactly what the British soldiers did. Yeah. Mistook the exclamation as a command, they fired into the crowd, they killed 5 people. So when you hear the whole story, it really doesn't sound like a massacre now, does it? It's more like an accident, that's what it was. It was an accident. It's called a massacre on purpose, and I'll tell you that in just a moment. But if you look to your left, right behind the pine trees, you'll see the circular form of cobblestones. That's where the massacre happened. And this will be stop 5. So if you'd like to see the Old State House, there it is on your left. It is free to you. You want to go to the traffic light, cross the street, and the entrance is on the other side of the building. You want to go to the Dreamland Wax Museum, look to your right of Staples. You see the red sign with the gold letters? There is Dreamland for you. Stop number 5. Watch your step. Come on down. Use it to gain support for revolution. So we came up with the name, the Boston Massacre. The name alone didn't get people mad. It was the image that they saw. He had a really good friend. Sam Adams had a very talented artist as a friend. His name was Paul Revere. Paul Revere did a drawing which showed the armed British soldiers firing into this crowd of these helpless, unarmed colonial rebels. Not exactly the way it happened, but great propaganda. Got a lot of people angry at the British and ready for revolution here. So we're going to head into Government Center right now. If you look to your right at the end of this office building, you're going to see something that has been here since the 1870s. Not Starbucks, but what's attached to it. Giant golden tea kettle with steam coming out of it. That was put there in the 1870s by the Oriental Tea Company. They had a big promotional campaign. They said, you can guess the capacity, you'll get a prize. I don't know if you can read it, but it holds 227 gallons. 2 quarts, 1 pint, and 3 gills. Gills in Old English measurements, like 2.5 ounces. People ask me all the time, where's the steam come from? You see that concrete building on your right? That's where the steam comes from. It's a direct pipeline. That's City Hall. That's excess hot air coming out of City Hall all day long. Even on Sundays, we have excess hot air coming out. Doesn't matter what city you're from, does it? They're all the same. This is called Government Center. There's been a lot of famous politicians that spend time here in one way or another. And there was one that lived up the top of the street on your left, a man who said this.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not
JFK.
what your country can do for you,
On your
ask
left,
what you can do for
behind
your
the
country.
3 flagpoles. See that brick building? That's the office building that JFK, excuse me, the apartment building that JFK lived in when he was elected President of the United States. I played that soundbite one time and somebody actually said to me, was that Teddy Roosevelt? It's like, they clearly flunked history. So JFK and Jackie lived in that apartment. Well, technically lived. I'll use air quotes there. That was their legal address. For the 1960 president.